Hey everybody, I am Luke,
And I am Josh.
and we are the youth leaders for the Commonplace Youth Group. And so we're making this video because we can't have youth group because of there's like a sickness. There's like a pandemic or something going on that makes youth group illegal. I don't know if it's actually illegal. Can they arrest you for it yet?
Can't arrest you, but socially
They'll frown upon you.
very frowned upon.
Yeah, so frown upon right now to be gathered together. So we can't have kids together right now. So we are specifically making this video for our youth group kids, but anybody can watch it. Like anybody that has the link to this can watch it. So if like you're a college kid,
Check it out.
watch it. If you're an adult,
Check it out.
if you
Or in Italy, stuck in your apartment.
that's right, Italy stuff in your apartment.
Check it out.
Yeah. If you are in China, check
Ain't
it out.
allowed to leave your apartment.
Yeah, I mean anywhere you can.
Check it out.
Anybody can check it out. So anyway, yeah. So we just have kind of a message that we've been talking about, and we're going to talk a lot about something Josh and I have talked about quite a bit in our Bible studies and just regular conversation and goofing around and stuff like that. But we kind of made a connection with those things and what's going on right now. So what we're going to talk about is some interesting Bible characters that we have come across. Some people that are they're weird, but they're also interesting, and they did some crazy things. So first on our list is Noah. Who's Noah?
Noah.
He built the ark. I heard.
He's the art guy.
Yeah, he's the ark guy. Not like the gold ark, the boat ark.
Big old art.
Yeah, he built a boat and put a bunch of animals on it and survived the flood.
Yep. Rode it to the sunset.
on a boat with all of his animals. Yeah, so he did that. That's pretty crazy. He survived the flooding of the world in a giant boat with every animal there was back then.
Yeah.
Which were big and small. Maybe dinosaurs. I don't know.
We don't know.
That we don't know. Sure. A lot of animals. All right, next we have Nehemiah. What did Nehemiah do?
Nehemiah came to Israel after the several times that Israel got leveled, and he essentially organized and made sure that a wall got built around Israel again. Around
So he's a
The
wall.
city.
He was a wall builder.
a wall builder and organizer
Organizing.
and leader of people.
I heard organizing people back then wasn't a very easy thing.
Not this group of people.
Next is Gideon. Gideon's a fun one. We really like Gideon a lot. Gideon was one of the judges, and so he was like a ruler of Israel in his time. So he delivered Israel from the Midianites, and then he also did some fun things after that in his conquest to hunt down the rulers that were kind of against Israelite at that point in time. He got mad at some people and told them he was going to tear their flesh off with thorns.
And knocked down at least one tower.
At least one tower on their heads.
On their heads.
Yeah, so Gideon was cool, and so he delivered Israel. Pretty great. Personal favorite of Josh and I, Shamgar.
The story of Shamgar is surrounded in mystery.
Very,
but
very-
what we do know is that he too delivered Israel.
He too delivered Israel. Yes, he was also a judge. We'll talk more about that later. Another judge, we like judges. Samson. I think Samson is one of the more famous ones we're going to talk about today. Samson was a strong guy.
He too delivered Israel.
Samson was a musclehead. He was against the Philistines a lot, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, he was fought off a lot of Philistines. Mary, pretty famous Bible character. Mary, she did. What did Mary do? What's the thing Mary did?
She had a kid.
Oh yeah, she had a kid that was really important. She was the mother of Jesus. Anyway, yeah. So she was really cool. Some awesome things. The disciples, they were pretty important, right?
Yeah.
They
Kind
were.
of started the church.
They started the Christian church. They were the guys closest with Jesus. They did a lot of crazy things. I mean, several of them wrote books of the Bible. Almost all of them were martyrs.
Yep. Gave a lot of my friends their first names.
That's right. That's true. Next are Paul and Ananias.
Yep.
So along with the disciples, Paul
Wrote most of the New Testament.
Yeah, most of the New Testament, like Joshua,
Like most of this book
and
section.
that was
Mostly Paul.
this is all Paul, pretty much
For the most part.
for the most part. Yes, big leader of the church, and Ananias helped him out.
Ananias cured his blindness.
Cured his blindness. Yeah, what a good guy.
Good guy.
Yeah. Esther's pretty cool.
Esther saved Israel.
She too delivered Israel. A lot of
in
the
a
old,
different way though. She wasn't a judge,
not a judge.
but saved Israel from genocide in a situation where it was very easy to kill all of Israel.
Oh yeah, they could have done it like that. All of Israel dead, and Esther stepped in and helped out Israel. So all these people, all these Bible characters, they have something in common. Other than that, they're in the Bible. They all did very unlikely things. They had a bunch of crazy stuff going on, and they did the crazy things that we talked about. But more importantly than the fact that they did those crazy things is that they were really unlikely people. I mean, a lot of these people were just normal people, like you and me, that just did crazy things. So we're going to talk about like the weird circumstances that these people are in, that how unlikely it was. So first, Josh, Noah.
So Noah was just an old guy that was pretty good, surrounded by people that weren't so good.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't. That's the interesting thing. A lot of these people like weren't like your kings or like your politicians or like your celebrities. These were just people in random spots in society.
Yeah.
So Noah was just a guy.
Yeah, he was just a good guy when everyone else was bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty. I mean, for him to do what he did for just being a good guy, amazing.
Yeah.
Next, Nehemiah.
Yeah. Nehemiah was not even in Israel for a lot of his life. He was a guy that worked in Persia, I think.
Yeah.
He worked for the Persian kings. Like he was like nowhere near Israel, but it was in a time where Israel was held captive and like carried off to Babylon, and then after Babylon to Persia. They were all over the place, but he was a guy that worked for the king, and he really just had this mission for in his heart that he wanted to travel in a really long way and go back to this place called Israel that has always given Persia trouble and build a wall for him.
Yeah. I mean, again, just a normal guy that had it on his heart to do something crazy. Gideon, he's a fun one.
When we meet Gideon, he's this tiny guy, really skittish,
Yes.
bit of a temper, and really like to hide in holes.
He's very doubtful.
It's very doubtful.
I mean, an angel came to him and said, "You're going to do this." He says, "I'm too tiny."
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was very insecure. He was like he himself said he's the smallest of his family. Like, I'm the smallest guy around. I'm in a hole. What can I do?
Yeah.
And then God used him to deliver an entire nation. So very unlikely person. Tiny guy in a hole. Shamgar.
The story of Shamgar is rather mystery, but we do know he's a guy that had an ox goad,
Which is just a pointy stick.
heavy pointy stick for goat and oxes.
And he once killed 600 Philistines.
He too delivered Israel.
Next is Samson. Samson's different than all the other ones.
Because Samson, he was a bit of a goon.
Yeah,
Samson's your classic illustration where it doesn't matter how much of your life you get wrong, God will still use you.
He was such a screw up.
Yeah. Samson really had 3 rules that he needed to follow, and they were pretty easy rules for the most part to like not mess up. Like, don't get your hair cut. You can avoid that pretty easy.
Yeah, don't stay away from scissors.
Yeah. Don't get drunk or don't drink alcohol. You can pull that off.
That's not it.
And don't touch dead things.
Don't touch dead things. I mean, generally, like, aside from the haircut thing, like, people get haircuts quite often.
Yeah.
Not daily, but, like, those are, like, just 3 things people go through there every day,
You just
and they're okay with.
not do. But Samson botched those frequently.
Severe. He was bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mess around with a dead lion.
Feeding honey from the dead lion's body to his dad.
Exactly.
Interesting stuff.
Got his haircut. But in the end,
He too delivered Israel.
he, like, in the end, like, in the midst of all of his failure, he kind of just said, God, sorry, I want to do the right thing now. And then he did. The next is Mary. We all know what Mary did. I mean, she's the father of Jesus.
But before all this, she's the mother of Jesus. Mary was just a teenager from just like a random town without really any sort of like note to it, and she suddenly was pregnant in a time where this was a big no-no, and very easily just could have been cast aside from society, disappeared, and disowned by her family. But
Yeah, exactly. very easily could have just given into the pressure of like everybody. I mean, even Joseph was just like, hey, we should get a divorce. And she could have very easily just said, yeah, this is not looking good for us. But instead, like, they both persevered and then
Stepped up and
brought us Jesus. So back to the father of Jesus thing. On a side note, like many of the things Josh and I do, we're just winging. We don't really.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We wrote these notes
I'm fully ready for this.
15 minutes ago. Anyway, but yeah, so we just have this mess. We'll get it to you eventually. Next, the disciples. We like the disciples a lot because we're pretty sure the disciples are just a bunch of like teenage boys that Jesus hung around with. And then also a zealot.
Yes. A zealot and a tax collector, a couple fishermen.
Yeah. Just normal people that Jesus is like, all right, guys, you're going to hang out with me and I'm going to do some crazy things with you. I like Simon the Zealot. I think that one's fun. Just because, like, in the midst of everything that Jesus was doing, he's like, let's start a war. And Jesus is like, calm down.
Hold up.
The rest of the disciples, fart jokes all the time.
Our jokes, really most of what the disciples did in the Bible were just head shaking, forehead slapping.
How are we going to feel these people, Jesus?
How did we do it a couple days ago?
Oh, yeah. Next, Paul and Ananias. Ananias, not Ananias. Ananias.
Yes. So Paul was Saul.
Yes.
Saul was a jerk who was proud of it.
He killed Christians for a living.
Yes. He made it was more of a pastime almost. Like he just
A hobby.
like hobbyist Christian killer and felt really good about himself. And Ananias was just some guy that was similar to Noah, just a good guy.
Just a good guy.
Just a good guy minding his own business.
Yeah. And then so Paul, like all of a sudden is blind and Jesus is talking to him and says, you need to quit being a jerk and go find this guy, Ananias.
Who will heal your blindness. And God told this to Ananias, and Ananias is like,
What?
well, crap, Jesus. This Paul guy's kind of awful.
Kind
So God's like, hey, I know my plans for him. You go do this. And he's like, okay,
Yeah.
alrighty.
And then we have the Bible.
Yep.
Last on our list, Esther. Esther is super interesting because culturally, this one is pretty amazing. Just because culturally, then, so she was a foreign girl in a foreign land.
During the time where Israel was in captivity,
Yes.
like not in Israel anymore,
And
in a
then,
place where it was even worse to be a woman,
yeah, they weren't allowed to talk. If they talked without having permission
especially to the king.
to the king, they were killed. And
Yes.
she did it on several occasions.
Yes.
Just as like, hey, king, let's not kill all the Jews.
And she knew what could happen, but she knew it had to be done.
Yeah, exactly.
And Israel didn't die.
Exactly. And she too saved Israel.
She too delivered Israel.
So the point is that we had all these people, and they're all remembered in the Bible for doing these crazy, unlikely things. But more importantly, like they were just regular people. I mean, they weren't the type of person you expect to do these crazy things. Like you would expect, like someone who's super important to be remembered. Like if we think about our people in history, like our presidents, like they're pretty important people, right? Like you remember the kings, and like you don't remember just like the everyday person that was just like living in those times. You remember like the really, really important people in history. But here we just had all these regular people, these unlikely people that just did crazy things. And what they did things on like under normal circumstances, like you couldn't normally do. But they ended up doing it because God wanted them to do it. And they listened to God and it happened. So that kind of brings us to right now. So what does it mean for us right now? I think we're in a pretty unlikely time, don't you, Josh?
Doesn't happen every day.
No, it's not every day that we're in a pandemic. It's not every day that there is this virus looming over our heads and scaring a bunch of people. It's not every day that you're not allowed to be close to someone. You're not allowed to go somewhere. It's not every day you're not allowed to just like go outside and like go see someone and give them a high five. Like Josh and I are high fivers. That's what we do. Usually don't hit our mark, but right now we just have to self reveal because you're not allowed to touch people. So very unlikely time. And I think right now this world has a bunch of unlikely people. Like specifically the young generation, specifically people that Josh and I are involved with a lot. Specifically, you guys who we're talking to right now. You're a generation that, like, if you talk to like the older generations about you guys, they don't have very good things to say normally. It's always just like they're on their phone too much, or all they do is play video games. They're all Snapchatting or tweeting or FaceTiming or
Snack whacking.
it's something weird. Like that's how the older generation views.
They like hard tacos.
Yeah, they like hard tacos. Now I do have a problem with that. This generation likes hard tacos. I'm not
More than
okay with
soft
that.
tacos.
More than soft tacos. Like, all right, I enjoy a hard taco, but they like them more than soft tacos, and I'm not okay with that. Anyway, so this generation, there's a lot of people that don't think you guys are capable of much. They don't think you guys can do much because you're involved with what you're involved with. But Josh and I disagree, and we're going to talk about that. So we think that God is going to do something amazing right now with you guys, right now with our young generation. And the reason why we think that is because if God was able to do everything he did in those people from the Bible, all those crazy things, those unlikely things, if he's willing to do it then, I think he can, and I think he will do it now. I think he wants to do it now with this young generation. I think God is going to use this generation for something amazing in this moment right now. And before we talk about that, let's kind of talk about like what the status of the world is right now. Like right now, I think you could agree, Josh, that we're in a status of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has a lot to do with Satan. Now, like I can't necessarily say why this is happening, like why we're going through this pandemic, but I can make a pretty good guess at like what Satan's doing with it. Like I think his goal in all of this is to make us lonely, is to make us panic, to fill us with fear. I think you can probably agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Satan wants us to be afraid. And he wants us just to feel like we're all alone. Like that's one of Satan's things, is he likes you to think that you're isolated. And right now it's really easy to think that. We are told that we can't go hang out with people.
We are separated.
Yeah, we're told that we have to be separated. We can't spend time with people. You can't like go see your friends. You can't go to school. I mean, if, like for me, this pandemic is kind of flipping my whole world on its head because I'm a teacher, so I can't go to school. In the summer, I spend time at a summer. Josh and I spend time in Sylvan Hills with a bunch of kids, and that is in jeopardy right now. And youth group, we can't do that right now. We can't go to church. We can't do all these things we're normally used to doing with people. And Satan wants us to feel like we're all alone. And he wants us to panic and be fearful. But this is where I think this generation, this young generation, can come in and kind of like save us from it. And I think God's going to use this generation for what it's really good at, for what it's known best for. So, Josh, if you had to pin down one thing this generation is really good at, what would you say?
Communication.
Yes, communication. Like, you guys are really good at talking to one another. And not like the normal sense that we would really think, like face to face, like Josh and I right now. You guys are really good at communicating the way we are right now. Through a camera, through a video, through FaceTiming, through Snapchat, through all of your social media. You guys are the best at social media.
You take what the typical person our age only does with their day and expands it during your entirety of your week. Like what we would be doing to talking to each other right now, you're constantly doing. You're constantly communicating with each other, maybe for good or bad reasons. Sometimes for good reasons.
Yes, you guys are always communicating. You're way better at social media than I am. Mainly because I don't have it. But if I did have it, they would still be better.
Mm-hmm.
And they would still be better at connecting with people and talking to people. So you guys are super good at connecting. And I think God wants to use that right now. He wants you guys to connect with one another, connect with the people that you know that you're involved with in a time where we feel like we can't be connected. So yeah, we physically can't be together. I physically can't be next to you right now, but we can still communicate. We can still be with another. Just because we aren't beside each other doesn't mean we can't stay connected. And you guys are really, really good at that. So we're in an unlikely time. We're in a pandemic where we're told we can't be with one another. And there's this unlikely generation where the rest of the world doesn't view what they're good at as good. And I think God wants to use that right now to do crazy things. And so just like the people in the Bible, they didn't just sit around and wait for God to do something. Okay, Noah just didn't sit around and wait for an ark just to happen. He built it. I mean, the animals just kind of showed up. That part was really cool. But he built it. Nehemiah built the wall. Gideon got out of his hole and conquered a whole nation and delivered Israel. Shamgar.
Shamgar's story is shrouded in mystery. What we do know is that he delivered Israel
Once.
with
With an ox goad.
an ox goad.
So all these people, they got up and did what God wanted them to do. They just didn't sit around and wait for God to do the crazy thing. And that's because God wanted them to do the crazy thing. He wanted to use them for it. So we shouldn't just sit around right now and wait for God to do the crazy thing, to do this, whatever He's going to do. We should do it.
Yeah, and I think also they didn't choose to give in to what the time said they should
Absolutely
give
not,
into.
no.
So right now we're isolated and we're afraid of what's going to happen. And sometimes we're angry at what's going on. Those are things we can either choose to give into or we can choose to rise above. Just like if you look at Esther, she could have chosen not to go to talk to the king and just let all of the Israelites die, or Gideon could have stayed in his hole. All these people made the choice to step up.
Yeah.
That's something we can get to choose
Exactly.
too.
You guys can step up right now and you can connect. So I know a lot of you right now might feel lonely. Rightfully so, because you're literally alone. Physically not with people. You're not with your friends who you are with every day at school, stuff like that. College kids right now, oh my goodness. They were kind of they went away on spring break and then they couldn't go back. So some of them literally don't have their stuff yet. Their stuff is still at college. And so all the friendships and the plans that they had going back to college, gone. And so, yeah, that's awful. But that doesn't mean that needs to hold you down. That doesn't mean that you need to be lonely. You can still connect. So, kind of a challenge is for you guys to get up and connect with one another. If you have a friend you haven't talked to in a while, do whatever you need to do to contact them. Text them, call them, FaceTime them, Snapchat them, whatever. Get a hold of them. This young generation is really good at connecting. Older generations not. So reach out to those older generations. Reach out to your grandparents. I can't tell you how important it would be for you to call your grandmother, your grandfather right now. They would probably love to hear from you and just talk to them. Just say, hey, thinking of you, and I hope you're safe. They would love that.
Be the example.
Yeah, exactly.
Set the tone.
Yeah, for sure. And I guarantee it, if you start talking to enough people, you're gonna find someone wow, I was feeling really alone, but you kind of helped me out and you talked to me, and that's okay. And the really weird thing about all this is we don't know how long it's gonna last. It could be over in 2 weeks. It could go through the summer. We don't know. It's a really weird time, but that doesn't need to stop us from connecting. Next week, we're gonna do a Zoom meeting. You didn't know that. We're gonna do a Zoom meeting with our group kids. And I'm really excited for that because I haven't seen you guys in, was it 2 weeks now?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it'll be 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks Thursday.
It's been quite a while.
Yeah, so we're gonna get to see you guys, which that's awesome. And that's something that you guys can do too. You guys can set up your own Zoom meetings, you can set up your own FaceTime and stuff like that, and still talk to one another and still do all the things that you normally would do, just a little bit differently. So, wrapping this all up, God does crazy things. And I think right now, He wants to do crazy things with you. And I think He will do it. If you let Him do it. That's the thing. We have to believe that God wants to do those things. He wants to do amazing things in us. We have to believe that He can and will. And when we do that, and when we get up and actually do something, we actually talk to people. We reach out to someone. And it might even be someone you're not normally used to reaching out to. Maybe it's that person that you kind of just talked to at school but don't really have a friendship. Reach out to that person. Talk to that person and just see what's going on, and you'll be surprised at what can happen.
Yeah. So just remember that you may feel like you're an unlikely person, but if you choose to step up, you too can deliver Israel.
Metaphorically, not like the real Israel. You probably could deliver the real Israel. I'm not going to take that away from you, but more likely you just deliver like your group of people.
Your Israel.
You're in there.
You too can deliver your Israel.
Yeah, just like these people didn't think they could do it. I'm sure right now you don't think you can, but know that God empowers the people who don't think they can do anything, and He allows them to do crazy things. So, with that said, like, if you guys need anything, if anybody out there needs anything, find someone to talk to them. If you know how to get a hold of us, get a hold of us. If you don't know how to get a hold of us, ask someone they might know. And if not them, contact one of our elders, Pastor Josh. He's super available at this time to talk to you guys. So if you're struggling with something, just because you can't physically be with someone, don't continue to struggle. Talk to someone. Reach out. I think that's what we need to do more importantly than anything right now is just to reach out to somebody.
Yes.
All right. So I'm not sure when we're going to do another one of these, but if we do, we'll see you then. If not, we'll see you when this pandemic's over, and we'll give you a real high five. And we're not going to like do the big ones. Yeah. All right. See you guys. Hopefully it's soon. Bye.